Get ready for your daily dose of marketing strategies and tactics from entrepreneurs with the guile and experience to help you find success in any marketing capacity. You're listening to Marketing School with your instructors, Neil Patel and Eric Su.
Welcome to another episode of Marketing School. I'm Eric Su.
I'm Neil Patel.
And today we're going to talk about 7 questions to ask when hiring a growth hacker. So I'll give you my number 1 question that I love asking any kind of interviewing. Tell me your most impressive win in your career. And the more metrics, the better. And the reason I like to ask this question is because I want to know where they're at. It's going to help frame the conversation. Maybe they're coming out of college and they don't really have any wins, but they can talk about something they did in terms of, starting a frat or starting some kind of club. I want to know about that and I want to go deeper into that. This is one of Elon Musk's favorite questions, and I've kind of made it into my own. And then just make sure that when you ask this question, you're able to actually dig deeper and dig into the nuts and bolts of what they're actually able to do, how they're actually able to impact a project, and if that thing that they consider impressive is really impressive to you. If it's not, maybe you should cut the interview short.
The question I love asking, especially for growth people, is, so I ask them, I'm like, hey, who's your favorite brand? And let's say they say Coldplay, right? I'm like, all right, Coldplay is playing this weekend. You have tickets to the event. And, you're going to go, you're going to have a blast. But all of a sudden, it starts raining really hard, terrible weather, thunderstorm coming in, and it may even start snowing. Would you go to Coldplay and go to the event? Or would you, reschedule? They'll be playing again in a month. Would you just wait, another month to listen to them play live? Or would you go right then and there? And the reason I ask that question is because growth hacking is all about experimentation, and there's going to be tough times. And when things don't work out, you want people to continually push forward. Ones who give up really easily are terrible growth hackers, because it's not easy. You're going to get a ton of failures before you get a lot of successes. So if they say, hey, I would just come back a month later, I would not hire them. If they say, hey, you know what? I'll tough it out. I don't care if it snows. I'm going to go. That shows me they're passionate and they're willing to do whatever for things that they're passionate about. Those are the type of growth hackers I really want to work with.
All right. And the third one is, and Neil likes this question too, is, having them take a look at, your website or maybe another website and talking about what they would fix. And you have to make sure that they're actually with you in person, or you can use a tool like SparkHire, which is a video interviewing tool that I use. And it basically only gives them 1 minute to think about the question, or sometimes I can make it 5 minutes. They can think about it, but they have to answer within 5 minutes or else they're disqualified on that question. Anyway, getting them to actually look at your website allows you to see kind of where they're at in terms of their quote unquote growth hacking ability or their marketing ability. You want to see how they think in general and why they think a certain way. And also you can challenge them too. If you challenge them on something, because not everything is black and white when it comes to growth hacking, right? So you challenge them on it. You want to see how they respond when they're facing adversity, and you can, build off of that.
Another question I like asking, and this goes to creativity, because growth hacking isn't just about data and numbers. It is about creativity, because if you're not creative, you won't be a great growth hacker. So going back to the, hey, what's your favorite brand? I also asked a similar question, and I always ask this with the other one as well. Hey, all right, now that we know your favorite band is Coldplay, now imagine Coldplay playing this weekend. Tickets cost $500. You really want to see them really badly. You don't have money, and you can't borrow the money from friends or family. What would you do to go and see Coldplay? Like, how would you get in to see the band, even though you don't have money, you can't borrow it from a friend or family? And I'm looking for a creative solution, even if it's like wild and crazy and not possible. I'm just trying to figure out how creative they are, because if they're not creative, then they're not going to be a good fit.
The other thing I like to ask is, and this goes into creativity and goes into critical thinking too. You can ask a lot of these situational questions. So here's an example. Ask them, how many basketballs are there in the United States? And there's no right or wrong answer. You would just want to see the thought process. And some people can go way kind of, really in depth. What one of my partners likes to do is he'll put a pen and a paper in front of them, and he wants to see how they think through it. And the people that actually spend time writing down kind of the calculations and kind of what they're thinking and breaking it down, he actually really likes those people, because they've actually taken a step back and thought about it. And then there's other people, when you ask them a question like this, they won't even use the pen and paper, and they'll get kind of rattled, and they'll start to stumble over their words, and they'll answer as quickly as possible, and it won't be as well thought out. And sometimes, when you're running these experiments that can cost you, we're talking millions or, tens of millions of dollars. In this case, you should probably think about it a little deeper, because you have to think about, what kind of effects there are going to be. The people that respond too quickly and get rattled might not be the ones you want to hire for a position that, that can be, have a lot of pressure.
Yeah, and Eric has it right. It's all about trying to figure out how people think, because a lot of people can go and learn. If they're not a good cultural fit, or they're not willing to do whatever it takes, or they're not creative, they're not going to work out. And similar to that in marketing, I want to make sure this hire is really good at numbers and is logical as well. So one thing I show them is a funnel. And I show them a funnel with different drop-off numbers, such as like 1,000 visitors to the homepage. Then from the homepage, 600 visitors go to the product page. From 600 to there, 300 go to the checkout page. From there, maybe like 50 people actually check out. And I'm making up these numbers. And then I ask them, here's the funnel. What area would you focus on first when it comes to optimizing the funnel, and why? That'll tell me like how logical they are. Are they going to go after the step that has the biggest drop off, or are they going to say something like, I don't know? I would actually survey them with qualitative data to figure out why, 950 of them aren't going to convert. Based on that, that'll tell me which part of the funnel to focus on, because then I know, hey, this is the biggest objection that people have that you're not answering, right? But whatever it may be, you want to make sure they come up with some sort of a logical response, because a growth hacker needs to be data-driven.
All right, last but not least, number 7. So one of the most important things for us, part of our culture, and establishing your core values might seem rah-rah, but it is important. So one of my core tenets is learning. One thing I'll always ask is, tell me about the last book that you read. And oftentimes I'll get answers, they might be really good at execution, but they'll be like, oh, I haven't read a book in years, right? And that's a pretty damning answer, because the people that are constantly getting better, we want forward-thinking people. And it's okay if you don't read all the time, you're not a learner. It's just probably not the right fit for us. We'll ask questions like, what's your favorite blog? Or, it doesn't necessarily have to be a book, but you have to just be consuming stuff and getting better. If you're not trying to get better, and it's painfully obvious that you've kind of been set in your old ways, it's just not the right fit for us. So that's it for today's episode of Marketing School. We'll see you tomorrow.
This session of Marketing School has come to a close. Be sure to subscribe for more daily marketing strategies and tactics to help you find the success you've always dreamed of. And don't forget to rate and review so we can continue to bring you the best daily content possible. We'll see you in class tomorrow, right here on Marketing School.